What just happened? Twins implode in the ninth. Griffin Jax gives up the walk-off winner to Freddie Freeman. Final score in Game 3, the rubber match, 4-2. Full deep dive coming up next. Minnesota Twins postcast.
This is the Twins postcast. Your instant game reaction for the Minnesota Twins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's going on? Back in the lab, back at it. Another Minnesota Twins postcast right here in the Locked On Sports Minnesota Network. Your team every day. Luke Inman at Luke_Spinman. Got my main man, Theo Tollefson. Give him a follow on X at Theodore Tollef1, Twins expert over at Zone Coverage. And then lots to get into. Biggest turning point. Plus, will the Twins, especially after this game, will the Twins make a splash at the trade deadline? But first, quick reminder, today's episode brought to us by Game Time. Game Time, download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Let's just get right into it, man. Twins, this thing got dramatic at the end. I mean, you could say maybe a little lackluster the first, 5-6 innings, but man, these last 3 innings got dramatic, back and forth game near the end. Probably can't tell when you wake up tomorrow morning and look at the box score, but 2-1 game in the 7th. Twins load the bases. They score 2. Willie Castro, Harrison Bader, they both knock in a couple RBIs. Dodgers come right back, though, in the 8th. Load up the bases themselves. Brock Stewart, though, a little ice in his veins. He finds a way to get out of that jam unscathed. So you're thinking, okay, that was the worst of it. Bottom 9, still never feel great with a 1-run lead when you're in L.A. versus that lineup. You got 2 outs, nobody on. Griffin Jax loads up the bases. Freeman comes up to the plate. You got Freddie Freeman at 0-2, by the way. 0-2 count. He had him. He ends up battling back, knocks one to left field. 2 out, 2 RBI, walk-off game winner. Harrison Bader had a chance to make the game-saving sliding play. He just couldn't hold on. A play he usually makes in his sleep, by the way. If you've watched the Twins and Bader all year, he's been outstanding with the glove in left field. But Twins in shambles. The road trip disaster continues. The chat is in shambles as well. Let's just get to the biggest turning point to kick things off right here.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
So in a game like this, I suppose it's always easy to just say, okay, the walk-off winner. But there was so many just, this was not checkers. This was chess these last 3 innings. Give me 1 or 2. Try to get creative. Biggest turning points outside the obvious. When were they and why?
Well, it was the second to last batter, Oresty Ruiz, who should have not been pitched around as he was. Jax threw 3 straight balls that were outside the zone that he was trying to get him to chase, and that did not work at all. And you walk him, and then you bring up Freeman for that opportunity, and he cashes it in. Yeah, that's one way to put it. Ohtani did make a little more sense walk-wise because it's Shohei Ohtani, and we've seen what he's done all series against the Twins. So I think he made sense, but Ruiz, who was just pitched around so badly when Jax definitely should have pitched him inside the zone, and he is the fastest runner on the Dodgers, that should have been where things were finished up right there.
Yeah, a tough way to end this road trip, especially after, the disaster that happened in Colorado. You're going to this game. You're up 2-1 going into the 9th with 2 outs, a chance to go into LA versus this lineup and win the rubber match. Let's get into the Rocco report. Used to do this a lot last year. The Rocco report. Walk me through. You kind of touched on a couple of the walks, right? Walk me through some of Rocco's biggest decisions at the end of this one. Again, specifically walking Shohei Ohtani. Easy to say in hindsight, absolutely. But at the time, did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Just what was going through your mind? And I guess what kind of grade, would you give Rocco today?
No, it made sense to walk Ohtani. I'd say it was just a B-managed game because, Bader was put in this game as a defensive replacement, which worked out for the most part until that very last play. You had Deshaun Kersey Jr. pinch run, and he stole third for the first time for this all season for the Twins, which is jumping to the nerdy stat of the day. Anyway, but there were plenty of opportunities for them to win this one and capitalize on runs early, and they did not. And that's why you have a 4-3 walk-off victory, and it could have been a lot better with some better run production on the Twins lineup, which has just been the theme all season. So
it doesn't sound like a lot, right? It's just one game, but finishing the 6-game road trip, coming out of the All-Star break, 2-4 versus 3-3, really did, at least on paper and emotionally, just knowing how everything unfolded, really feels like a huge contrast. But now you get to go home. We'll preview all that in game 3. Now you get to go home for 6, 3 with Washington, 3 with Boston. Again, 4-3, that's your final today. 49-53 now on the year, 4 games below 500. Plenty more deep dive trade deadline predictions for the Twins. Are they going to make a splash, especially after this dramatic loss? That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode brought to us by FanDuel. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook and official sportsbook partner of the MLB. Right now, FanDuel is giving you a chance at a huge return, $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you win your first $5 wager. Why I love FanDuel. When you get the hunch in the middle of the game, you go check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more, all on the same page where you place your bets. Again, $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you win your first $5 bet. Go check it all out over at FanDuel.com. Get in some MLB future action if you dare. Twins plus 700 right now to win the AL Central. It's all setting up over at FanDuel.com. Again, check it all out over at FanDuel.com and get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you win your first $5 wager. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook and official sportsbook partner of the MLB. All right, you teased it. Nerdy stat of the daytime, crazy stat, fun analytic, Twins related. Give it to me.
Yeah, the one upside in this was that they stole third base for the first time all season, which worked for them.
Kersey, right?
Yep, Kersey. I mean, if it was Buxton's never done in his career, so that's the next best guy you want to send.
How is that possible, by the way? How's Buxton never? He's tried, right? He's just got gunned out. Is that what you're saying?
Nope. I think he did it once, maybe his rookie year, and then that's what happened, and he just doesn't want him.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that just like the en vogue thing now? Does the rest of the league just not steal second to third that much anymore? Catchers just defensively that good?
Yeah,
okay,
and they just don't want to run themselves into outs. So
sure.
Anyway,
okay. Fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, they had so many other opportunities. This would have been so nice to at least walk away and give people some hope. Taking 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers for the first time ever. But now you're at what, 3? I said they were 3-10 last night. Now they're 3-11, something like that, all time at Dodger Stadium. So it's not good. It's not good.
Rough stuff. That's a good segue actually into what we'll be talking about.
This is what you'll be talking about.
So I think this is all relevant, especially after a loss like this. I spent a good hour and a half up on ESPN today, and almost every article related to the Twins or just the entire league itself right now kind of hinted and leaned into the fact the Twins are going to trade away a guy or two at the deadline. It's just a matter of who and how many guys. Now, on one hand, you're only 4 games out of the wild card right now, which is wild to say. So anything could happen, right? A lot of ball to be played left. But on the other hand, you got guys like, and we've talked about this, Willie Castro, who's a free agent to be. A lot of teams would love a utility guy like him. Harrison Bader, Chris Paddock, etc. Those guys, just on paper, seem easier to part with because they aren't part of like the long-term plans. But then you also got guys like Joe Ryan, who's been floated, Griffin Jacks, Duran. Those guys are signed through 2027 too, which obviously bumps up their value quite a bit when it comes to a trade. On paper, those guys are obviously much more part of your core nucleus of your roster. Plus, obviously, you're going to get a much bigger haul in return. Maybe a king's ransom could come through the door. I'm sure that'd be very tempting, even if it was parting with a guy like Joe Ryan. How much are the Twins going to subtract at the deadline? That's what everybody wants to know. What's your gut say? Give me your best, just kind of educated guess from everything you know.
No, I think I said this on the show last night, and I'll repeat it again. I mean, it's going to be all the guys who are on expiring contracts, except maybe Ty France, and then one of Duran or Jax. But I think a lot of the industry after today's bad loss is going to be wanting Duran to be the one who's moved and not Jax. So we'll see what happens, but I think that's the most likely thing that is going to happen. That way they can keep most of this core together for whatever the future ownership group comes in here in the upcoming offseason, and that way they can add pieces, hopefully, with better payroll to work with, and you're not giving away a really good team that can still have a good core that can go out and compete next season. But I think, we've seen 2 out of 3 dropped in the last 2 series. They couldn't capitalize on the sweep over the Rays and the Pirates this month and dropping 2 out of 3 to the Marlins. It's hard to see how this team's going to pull things together. It's not impossible. They still can, sneak things in, get into that last wild card spot and do something. But yeah, this is just not looking well for them.
So you sound very confident in a couple of these names. Which guys can we put in Sharp? Which guys are you confident enough to put in Sharpie, like a Willie Castro? You said a lot of people besides Ty France. Who else besides Willie Castro do you think is almost a foregone conclusion they're getting moved?
Bader, Coulombe, Paddock after today. I think this was a fantastic start, which we barely even touched on because
no kidding,
of how
right?
this thing ended.
Yeah.
He went out there. I said last night he needed to go out there, provide 5, hopefully 6 quality innings, and he did just that today. So it gave the bullpen a little more rest until things imploded later in this. So, he's probably more than likely going to get moved now, even though he's probably not going to get the biggest return. I still think what the biggest package they could do right now, they're not going to move Joe Ryan as much as teams are going to want him, and they're going to need to be blown away by King's ransom type offer, which I don't know if other teams are willing to put that together for them. So if they package, Willie Castro with either Duran or Jax, then they're more than likely to get a reasonably well return in prospects. So I think that's what they need to look for.
And, as tough as it's going to be to part with a guy like Willie Castro, who's been here for 3 years, we all loved, just kind of a glue guy. If you do move on, if and when you do move on from some of those glue guys there, I just think about the future, right? 2026 and beyond. You got a lot of almost near ready, nucleus of position playing prospects coming in that we've talked about. Emmanuel Rodriguez, Walker Jenkins, Luke Keyshaw, who we've already seen, on top of your young core that you've already built the last couple of years too, and that almost feels like, that I think should give Twins fans a lot of optimism going into 2026. If you can kind of have almost like a quick mini rebuild, I guess, pending how this trade deadline goes. Like, don't you think, am I being rose-colored glasses here? Don't you think that's a good, solid young core? Not saying Walker Jenkins is coming in next year and
he probably
even going to make an impact. But either way, like 3 really good prospects coming up the ranks, plus an already pretty young core of guys like Brooks Lee, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. I think we have some hope once Keishel's ready from his rehab assignment. I think there's some hope to see what he can do for the team down the stretch, even though it's probably more of an addition to see if he could be the opening day second baseman. Kalen Culpepper is climbing up the ranks too. I think he has a really good opportunity. He's been playing real well. Had like a little small injury skid, but nothing too terrible compared to what we're used to with Twins prospects. So I think he is someone who will definitely contribute next year and hopefully at a high level. I'm kind of out on Emmanuel Rodriguez now because he cannot stay healthy. Kind of worse than Buxton. I really am I still think he's the top 5, but he's number 5 in my book at this point, which is his durability or lack thereof. So there's still a lot to work with. Like I said, sell one of your relievers high, try to cash in on all the expiring contracts, and hopefully you have a new ownership group coming in here that has a much bigger pocketbook on payroll where you can add one of those bigger impact backs. I'm not going to say it's going to be Kyle Tucker, but man, would it be nice if they could get Kyle Tucker.
You're teasing me now. Don't tease us. Don't go anywhere. Preview of the 6-game homestand coming up. Washington on deck, Boston after that. That's all coming up right after this. Quick reminder, today's episode also brought to us by Prize Picks. Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app, now with more than 10 million members to date. For me and my money, it's by far the easiest, most exciting way to get in on all the action while you watch your favorite sports, you watch your favorite players. So simple, too. All you got to do, you pick more or less on 2 or more player stats. You watch the winnings roll in, strikeouts, RBIs, home runs, base hits, stolen bases, you name it, they got it. Take your pick on more or less. Add them to your Prize Picks entry today. Plus, they now offer Apple Pay, quick and easy deposits into your account all season long. Download the Prize Picks app. Use code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 instantly with any $5 wager. All right, brutal road trip. All things
Mm-hmm.
considering, right? 2-4 coming out of the All-Star gate there. But now you get a day off. Shake things off here. You get to come home, and you got 6 in a row at Target Field. 3 with Washington, 3 with Boston. Who I know Boston's been heating up a little bit. When you think about what just happened on the road, and then you think about these two opponents back at home. What's the top 1 or 2 things you're thinking about the most, or biggest storylines you're kind of dialed into?
I mean, it's kind of out the window what you originally thought because, you open the second half against the worst team in baseball and lose 2 out of 3 of them. And the Nationals are the second worst team in the National League behind the Rockies. And you would think they could take 2 out of 3 against them pretty easily, but who knows now? And the Red Sox have been on a hot streak much more than the Dodgers of late. So you kind of hope that you can even just scratch one against them at home, which it's just very telling of their situation, where things are at, and you just don't know what to expect. And you're kind of expecting them to tread water at best and then have a game like today where things blow up against them if they can keep it tight in a 1-run or 2-run ball game like they probably will against the Red Sox here.
Well said there. I'm sure we could sit and gripe about this one for a good 30, 40 more minutes, but we got to get out of here. Twins implode in the 9th inning. They lose the rubber match today. They end a brutal road trip, 2-4. 4-2, that's your final in LA in game 3. 49-53 now on the year. Huge shout out, though, to all you guys, all the everydayers out there that always make us your first listen. All you guys coming in the chat with us from game to game. Make sure you like and subscribe. Check out all of Theo's work on X at Theodore Tulloff 1. Plus all the work he's always ripping up over at zonecoverage.mn.com as well. Luke Inman on X at Luke_Spinman. Again, we're back here Friday for game 1 versus Washington, 7:10 first pitch. Catch you right here. Same time, same place. Until then, signing out.